the Virtual Career Lounge session, helping you to be a greater you. I'm your host, Dali Perez. This lounge is designed to help middle and high school students prepare for life after high school because failing to plan is planning to fail. Today, we're going to talk about college success skills. There's a lot of skill that we need to succeed in college, and we're going to dive in a little bit into that. But before we do that, we want to give special thanks to the Career Lounge session sponsor EXL, a leading data analytic and digital operations and solutions company. If you want to learn more about EXL, go to exlservice.com. Thank you to their sponsorship, we are able to bring this lounge to you at no cost. A little bit about us: we are Love Our Youth, a 501c3 nonprofit organization providing programs for youth. Our mission is to leverage the power of collaboration to uplift and empower youth and their families within our community. Before we kick off today's topic, we want to learn more a little bit about our panelists, so we're going to bring them in. So please share your name, tell us a little bit about yourself, your current role at your company, and why did you choose your career?
Sure. Kriti, do you want me to go? Do you want to go? I guess I'm going. Hi, my name is Cora Broyles. I am a senior AVP and education practice lead at EXL. I help companies and universities use data, AI, and digital solutions to serve students and manage operations more efficiently. In my career, I've led product development, digital transformation, and growth initiatives across multiple industries, including education, wellness, automotive. And I work very closely with executives to solve complex problems and bring innovative ideas to life. How did I land in this career? Just something personal about me. I am a first generation college graduate and have spent most of my career working in higher education. And that's because I value education very deeply, and it's very personal. And so I have a strong passion for helping students along their learning journey. Yeah, over to you, Kriti.
Hi everyone, I'm currently working as a project manager in EXL. I joined the company 2 years ago as a business analyst and now working as a project manager, helping clients solve real world problems using data, technology, innovation. So, I started my career as a lawyer, and my first job was in a bank. Interestingly, I found myself working on a legal tech app, and that's where my journey into technology began. So, while most people around me came from law, I naturally took on the role of a bridge between the legal and the tech team, and that opened up a whole new world for me. So, eventually, I shifted from law into IT and began working more closely with businesses. Yeah, that's about me.
That's amazing. And that's one of the things that happens, right? You start in something and then you end up in something else, and that's okay because that's the process and that's the transitions of life. So that's amazing. So to dive in today's topic, college skills, right? We have to have skills because there's a lot of challenges, a lot of changes when we come from high school, that transition to college. If you look our previous podcast, you'll see we talked a little bit about that transition between high school and college. So if you have not seen that, go back and see that one. So what will be those key skills that students need to succeed in college?
Mhm. I think, I think there's a handful, but from my perspective, I think there's three things that are absolutely key. I think one, curiosity, communication, and persistence. I think it's so important to exercise that skill of just being very curious, asking a lot of questions and keep asking questions. And from a communication perspective, making sure you're connecting with people. And of course, from a persistence perspective, keep sticking with it. And I think that those will be three key things that can help students go really far.
Awesome. Definitely that curiosity, right? Because sometimes, like we said at the beginning, maybe you start with something and then you ended up
Mm,
something else. And that curiosity is part of it, like exploring, knowing what's around, And definitely having those goals, because that's going to help you to achieve. So can we talk a little bit about that, the goal setting? But sometimes there's some high schoolers that are kind of like lost. Maybe they don't know what they want to do. But how doing that, and how important is to set those goals so they can achieve that success?
I mean, just to follow up on that, I think having goals provides students and everybody actually with direction. It helps you manage things, even if those goals change along the way. I think it can help in two areas. One, it can help you to stay motivated. And secondly, I think it can help you to measure progress. And of course, I think when you think about the goal of higher education, you might have a long-term goal of attaining that degree that could be a 4-year degree or a multi-year degree. But it's important to break that down into smaller goals that will help you stay motivated along the way.
Yeah. I mean, as a project manager, when I started the career, even I started it small. Um, when I joined the company, I wanted to learn more. Having that law background, I always wanted to change and I was curious to learn more. So I went step by step, learned everything, took smaller steps, smaller goals, and that helped me achieve more. So I totally agree with Cora.
That's awesome. So one of the things, Cora, that you mentioned is like staying
Mm.
motivated. So how can they do that? Because sometimes there's, good days, bad days, and especially with all social media, that influence, that pressure. Sometimes they go like in a roller coaster. Today they feel good, tomorrow they don't. How can they stay focused and motivated during
Mm.
that college?
Mm. I think part of it can be having small, realistic goals that can help you to build confidence and really adjusting them as you grow. And I think I know personally, and I think I translate it over to something like fitness as well, which is there's going to be some days when you're not really going to feel motivated to do it, but that you know that you need to in order to reach a longer term goal. And so sometimes it's just setting up the plan and tackling that plan and saying, okay, today I know I need to do XYZ. Even if I'm not quite motivated today, I know that I still need to do it. And then afterwards, you'll feel pretty good about sticking to your plan. So I think those are important things.
Absolutely. So that comes with the self discipline, right? So
Yeah.
discipline is super extremely important. So can you share, or both of you can share, what's the difference between a person that is self discipline, and how does that look? What does that mean versus someone that is not, and what effect does it have into college?
So, before joining EXL, I was myself a student. I was doing my master's from University of Massachusetts, Amherst. And discipline was something that helped me land this job. It was because when my friends, they were enjoying, like, they were having parties, I was focusing on getting a job. Last 3 months of before I graduated, I was only focusing on my interview preparation. I was trying to learn more. uh, I was trying to develop the skills. So today, when I see those 3 months of discipline helped me with the job, I was the first one to get a job in my college versus my friends who was still waiting. It was even 1 year after graduation that they did not get any job. So that's very relatable and true.
And I think discipline. I think it's important to talk about discipline along with time management and maybe even balance, because I think that the when I hear the word discipline, it can almost sound a little bit harsh or like, oh, we have to be disciplined and do all these things that maybe we don't really want to do, or maybe we have to sacrifice our social life in order to be disciplined. And I think it comes down to having a good plan and having time management. Time management can help to reduce stress. It can also help to stay on track and be disciplined, but at the same time, being able to create a balanced life that also incorporates a social life, which I think is just as important as achieving some academic goals along the way.
Absolutely. And it's important because you mentioned the managing the stress, right? So
Hmm.
college can be stressful. But then if you're disciplined, if you manage your time, if you put that time in it where social life is important, because we need to, relate to others, then that stress may lower a little bit. It doesn't mean that it's going to go away, right?
Right.
So is there any other tips and tricks, if you will, for stress management? Because college could be stressful, yes, but then there's self-discipline, there's time management. There's, or can you think of when you were in college, if there was a time that you were stressed, what did you did in that time that helped you to manage that?
Well, I'll let Akriti answer that. College days were a very long time ago for me. I mean, I can probably answer a little bit, but go ahead, Akriti.
Well, for me, I would say that do things that you like, you're passionate about. It could be anything, could be like playing FIFA or learning a dance skill or anything that you always wanted to, because that will keep you motivated and will also help you with your stress management. So, I mean, I personally learned dance during my college, and that helped. So do something that you always wanted to and you felt that maybe you don't have a career there. What if by doing that as a stress management, you may have your career in that skill too?
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And I think the other thing I would add in, and we talked about it before, was time management. I think, the times when I have felt probably the most stressed is when I've, didn't plan my time really well. And maybe I was trying to frantically write a paper the night before it was due, or frantically trying to study for an exam. And I think that time management, even just having a simple calendar or breaking your work down into steps, can make a really huge difference in the difference between really feeling completely overwhelmed and stressed out, versus just understanding, okay, here's my plan, here's the priorities, of the things that I need to tackle today or this week, and being able to view them as being something achievable.
Just to add to your point, when it comes to college and time management, I feel that so we always get a lot of assignments. It's better to just do it right away as soon as possible and get done with it so that you have time for yourself and you don't have to stress about the assignment at the last time, be it the deadline for just the assignment or getting a job. Because once you are at the verge of getting uh, a job or at the time of your graduation, then there's a lot on the plate. And it is better to get some things done first, for example, assignments and other commitments, and then to focus on the job interviews and other things.
I love that, especially,
Mhm.
breaking down the assessments and if you have to prepare for exams and all that. So that's my next question because, okay, we're managing stress, we're self-discipline, we're managing time. So, but how do we prepare, like in this, where we have a class, right? So you have assessments and you have tests. How do we divide that? How do we prepare, or what's the best way to prepare for a test, especially not the night before? We establish that. So what could be that, right? And note taking as well when you are at a class. So what would be the best way to take those notes and then to grasp the best out of the class, so then you can have a good grade, let's say in the test.
Kriti, this is for you. Like I said, I haven't been in college for a while. I mean, I could probably take a stab at it, but go ahead.
Well, I would say that today, when we have AI, uh, all kinds of AIs are available. It is always good to be ahead of your class. Just learn your course, your thing before you enter the class so that you get that interest during the lecture. AI is there, acts as a teacher. Learn from that AI, use it right, use it wise, um, and then once you are done with the course, with your lecture, maybe just you can go to your home just revise and see if you can just achieve, or maybe do your homework, your assignment before the deadline again, because time management is the key, especially in college.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that helps me even now, and not being in college right now, but whenever I'm learning new things or a new topic, whether that's from a conference or a workshop or what have you, I find it helpful to figure out your style of how you like to take notes. Whatever that works for you, take the notes and review it really quickly after whatever that session is. Go back through. I think Akriti, you touched on that too. I think it's important that while it's fresh in your mind, go back and check the notes that you wrote down. Sometimes you can fill them out a little bit better. Sometimes you might identify areas where, like, oh, wow, this was covered, but maybe I don't quite understand that very well. And you might want to follow back up with a professor, or you might want to do some additional research, like what Akriti had mentioned. So I think it's important to reduce that crunch before the exam would be to make sure that as you're progressing along the way and you're learning those concepts and taking good notes that will serve you uh, in your studying.
That's amazing. And welcome. We have someone new to our session. And so before we keep going, if you want to share your name, who you are, what's your role in your company, why did you choose your career? And to continue with this conversation, we were talking about, what are those tips and tricks to prepare good, to study, to take those notes, and then make the most out of it when you're going to prepare for a test or do a homework and all that.
Yeah,
So go
hi
ahead.
everyone. This is Talveen Jolly. I work for EXL in the US Geography as a assistant manager. I have my BTech from India back, and then I did my masters in computers engineering with a specialization in AI and ML from University of Waterloo from Canada. And then I worked for EXL for 2 to 2.5 years in Canada Geography, and then I moved to the US Geography. And yeah, so that's all about me. Happy to join this session and share my thoughts. Thank you.
Amazing. So we talked about how can you prepare, how can you do all that, those tips and tricks. What do you think? What role plays the tutoring? Looking for someone maybe if you don't understand something that's happening in the class, or just going to those office hours with the professor, or have a study group. What role does that play in your success in college?
So I'll take that because I have something to relate to it. So I'll say that study groups are like, if you're stuck, it's better to go and ask. It's always best to go and ask instead of like, yeah, it's good to try to find answer on your own, but it's always better to go and ask people. The best, what worked for me in my university was going to the TAs. So we used to have this teaching assistants. So they were basically very closely related to professors, but they were also like students in these universities, but at PhD level or at a higher level, who has taken this uh, course like maybe 2 3 years back, and they used to relate to us. So that helped me to go to that TAs, clarify the doubts. They used to take up time for us, and that's the one thing I can say. Yeah, go to the TAs if there are. If not, then obviously then you can join some study groups and obviously take help from your friends, and uh, try to solve things together is where you can achieve react to that problem faster.
Awesome. Anybody else that want to jump in that?
I think one thing that can also be really important is to not wait until you're struggling. Check out the resources that you have available to you at your university. Every school has things available, whether that's your libraries or your tutoring centers or study groups. Even if you don't feel like you're necessarily struggling, check them out, and don't wait until you're really having issues. And then also be brave. Be brave. It's okay that you don't understand something. You're there to ask questions and then there to learn. So reach out.
Awesome. There's another layer too that in college students can take advantage of, and there's
Mhm.
internships. It could be either in internships in, within the same area or going somewhere else. So what role do you think that play in that success journey, and how do that adds to it? And what are the ups and downs, right? Because everything has ups and downs. So in your experience, what do you think does that plays that what role that plays in to the college success?
Internships, I believe, are always good. It's There are less downs than more ups. So the thing is that once you are an intern while you are in college, you will get an exposure to the real world, that's the practical experience than just the theoretical. You would know how to be in a world that is so new, that once you start afresh right after college, you may not have the same level of guidance as you will have as an intern. So it is always the best option to do internship while you are in college to get that experience. Sometimes it so happens that you don't get an internship opportunity. In that case, as I did, I joined my professor and helped him assist as a project manager in one of his classes. So that again helped me to work on a real project, understood some of the tools that were so new that I never learned in the industry in the college, but it was used widely. So it's really good to uh, have internship that will help you with your skills, learn new tools, and also meet new people.
Yeah, definitely. I think I just to follow up on what Kriti said. I absolutely agree. I think the real world experience is going to be great. I think it gives you one something to add to your resume, but also it helps you explore what that role or what that area could look like, and if you were to go into that particular field. And I think that's incredibly important for understanding where your passions may lie and the direction that you might want to take your career in. And again, I think Akriti mentioned it too. You're going to start building relationships. And I cannot stress enough how important building a network is going to be in terms of your career. And even as you navigate through your education, your network is going to be quite important to you.
I love it. And again, we mentioned that in the last podcast, so go back and see it that as well. So let's talk a little bit about the network and how we can build it now. Because sometimes, teens said, I can do that later. That doesn't relate to me now because network, I will use it when I'm there. But how important it is to be conscious of it. Like, I need to build a network now.
I'll say networking, there is not no right time to start networking. Whenever, the earliest you can, the best it is. Networks will, maybe students are conscious, okay, maybe this network, I might not use it for 4 5 years, but networking is something you have to build on it. You can't just network with someone and then you can just ask them, okay, can I get a job or can you refer me? So it's something you need to build the relationship, you need to get in good terms with the person, and maybe in 5 years, in 5 6 years after you graduate your college, you might need to reach out to that person. So I'll say networking plays an important role, not just in college, in our professional life as well. But college being the best place to start networking, college will give you exposures to all these events, where you can network with people. In my university, I knew, there was this opportunity for the students where we used to invite colleagues or alumni who have joined these big companies, and they used to come back, talk to us, and that was the best place to start networking. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on networking. Always look out for it, always be conscious that any environment you are, you need to network.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's also, I mentioned earlier, the importance of creating balance. And of course, the academic aspect of things and studying and homework and doing all those things is incredibly important, but equally the social life aspect. So uh, the other students that you're going to class with are also going to go on and build careers. And it's important to establish relationships. So, um, it, you know, understanding that that social life aspect of things is going to help you to create relationships that may carry, maybe lifelong relationships. And I think that there's plenty of opportunities on at universities to grow and to meet new people and to see where that goes. I think you're absolutely right that it's not the case that you just meet somebody and then ask them for a job. It's going to be building relationships that will be long lasting.
Absolutely. And I will say, I will add to that, have your cheat sheet, if you will. Create like an Excel sheet in your Google Drive or something and start typing those names, name, phone, email, what they do. Maybe you could do it by category, by industry. You will be surprised, at the as years pass, how many people have you met that maybe 1 year, 2 year pass and you forgot about someone, then you go there, oh, I know this person, and then you connect with them again. So start doing that right now. That's your database. So in the business world, entrepreneurship, your database is everything, right? So start building that from now. That's super, super good. So what will be, from each of you, I would like to hear what will be that last advice that you want to give the teens that they want to succeed in college. That would be that thing that you will say, don't forget about this.
I think for me, and I mentioned this earlier on a personal note, I am a first generation college graduate. And so my message would be to those first generation students, remember you belong. I think, and I don't think this is, everybody may feel this way, but I think there can be times when you may feel like you don't belong. But remember, you do belong. Uh, and you may need to lean on other support systems, whether that's mentors or other students that you're meeting there, because you may not have that full support system around you, but build that and remember that you absolutely belong there.
My last advice would be study, but at the same time explore the all the opportunities, indulge yourself in all the other extracurricular activities also in college, because that's what build your personality, studies and that all extracurricular activities. Indulge in both, and that way you will enjoy your college life also, and there will be no regrets later on that you didn't enjoy it or didn't participate in other activities other than studying, and that will take you a long journey ahead.
My lesson is from my career journey, and that is that never think that you are very unsure of what you are doing, because and you are never too late, because there's always a time when you will get it right. It is okay to go slow sometimes. If you don't know, just go with it, follow your instinct, but make sure that you try to learn the new skills in any industry you are, because with changing time, with AI, and there are so many things that are coming in today's time, we need to make sure that we are equipped and well aware of what is happening in the industry. It's okay to take slow, but just make sure that you are utilizing the time correctly.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. But before we go, I want to ask you one last question. It's more like hot seat questions to get the audience to know you a little bit better. And that question will be, what is your go-to comfort food? For me, it will be pizza. What is for each of you?
Oh wow. I like desserts a lot, so I would have to go with ice cream or cake.
Mm. What kind of flavor?
I love red velvet cake. And I am very classic vanilla ice cream, but I will always add something to it, like add some kind of a mix into it, whether it's cookies with my ice cream or something else like that.
That's awesome.
Well, my would be, I would say, a chicken burger, because that's handy, that's easy, and sufficient for me. So I love that.
So for me, it even if I'm craving something savory, then it's Indo-Chinese food, or like that momos or Indo-Chinese something. If I'm craving something sweet that time, then it's definitely froyo. Some
Nice.
flavors of froyo with own toppings. That's my go-to, like comfort food. Yeah.
That's great. Now we're
Yes.
hungry. Now we need to eat. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming here to share your knowledge and your experience. Thank you to our lovely panelists for taking the time today to be part of our career lounge sessions. And thank you for joining us today. We hope today's conversation has given you insight and clarity on making plans for life after high school. Special thanks to the Career Lounge session sponsor EXL, a leading data analytic and digital operations and solutions company. If you want to learn more about EXL, go to exlservice.com. Thank you to their sponsorship. We are able to bring this lounge to you at no cost. We look forward to seeing you at the next Career Lounge sessions. Remember, all the sessions are here on YouTube, so make sure you go to our playlist, watch them all, share with your friends, like, subscribe, comment, and come here for the next session. See you soon.